Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to give everybody about 2 minutes or so just to transition in from other meetings that are finishing. And in the meanwhile, we're going to launch just a quick poll question for everybody. So please feel free to fill that out while we're giving everybody the 2 minutes to trickle in. And just one more time for folks that are just joining, we're just giving everybody until 2 minutes past the 10 a.m. Pacific time frame to trickle in from previous meetings. So we'll get started in about 1 minute here.
Those three items in the poll, you can also just click on them and rearrange them, reorder them, create the priority.
Thanks, Vince. All right, we are 2 minutes in, so let's go ahead and get started and other folks can trickle in. So first off, thank you everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening again. We appreciate your time joining us today for our Faster, Smarter, Better Custom Copilots and Generative AI in the Workplace webinar. So just leading into the conversation today, I'd like to touch quickly on the agenda. We're just going to spend a couple of minutes laying the framework to introduce today's webinar, set some ground rules. We're going to quickly introduce the NetWoven team that's going to be presenting here today. And then we will shift into the meat of the discussion today. We'll be going into a brief introduction on generative AI at work. We're going to spend some time clicking into Microsoft Copilots. So we'll dig into that. And then I'm going to hand over to my partner Soma at that point to get into some of the live demonstrations that we have today, showing Copilots built in the 3 different Microsoft Copilot platforms. And then we're going to wrap up with some Q&A at the end. So first things first, please feel free to ask your questions throughout the webinar. You don't need to wait until the end. So we have a panel of folks backing up Soma and I that will do their best to answer questions throughout the webinar. And we'll also have time at the end of this to pick up and discuss a few of those. And anything that we don't get to today, we'd be more than happy to follow up with after the webinar. So please use the Q&A section in the Teams meeting for that. And then just as far as an intro, so I mean, pretty much everybody is hyped up about the potential of using AI to improve work. There's a massive amount of potential there. I will definitely be the first to say that there was also an element of overhype with some of the current available generative AI tools for which the dust is still settling. And those of us that are digging in deep are learning that there's quite a few nuances to making sure that you build effective AI copilots. And that many of these dictate that although some of these first-party AI copilots are helpful, there are some limits that create some struggle. And it's actually leading a lot of us to look into building customized and tailor-made AI copilots that extend above and beyond some of the first-party, more black box ones. So again, just to set the ground rules here, we are not here to show yet another demonstration of the out-of-the-box features of Copilot for Microsoft 365. We feel that's been done well by Microsoft already. So what we will be focusing on today is reviewing some of the differences and also the integrations between the 3 different extensible Copilot platforms or tools that Microsoft has out. That's Copilot for Microsoft 365, Copilot Studio, and Azure AI Copilots. And then I think the most exciting part of today is going to be Soma's demonstrations. We have a few that we're going to show here. So we have a couple, integrated, helpful Copilot tools as a part of our mail desk solution for customer service and support to show how AI can be used to help enable your agents to perform better when working with customer inquiries. And then the second piece that we'll be showing is a couple of different use cases around using a chat bot built on top of a knowledge base. So we'll be answering some HR questions and making that a lot easier with Azure AI. And we'll also be showing, using that same tool to reason over some large and complex documents and help, make some really, powerful insights and help you consume that. So very quickly, introduction here. So NetWoven's a global Microsoft consulting services. We focus on shepherding organizations safely through cloud transformation journey by unraveling complex business problems. We've been in business since 2001. We're a managed Microsoft partner with a portfolio of accreditations to speak to our expertise. If you'd like more information, more than happy to go there, but we'll keep it short and sweet. As far as the team that we have here today, myself and Soma would lead our content and collaboration practice inside NetWoven. We're going to be presenting today, and we're going to be backed up by our VP of Engineering, Pankaj Bose, and Vince Pangan, a Senior Engagement Manager on the content collaboration team. So they'll be managing the Q&A panel. All right. So as far as generative AI at work, AI is it's a game changer. I think we all understand that this is one of the biggest changes that has come to market from a technology perspective. That's been out in decades. There's a variety of different value that can be taken from generative AI at work. Some of these ones I think many of you have probably seen with some of the the presentations that are coming from Microsoft for Copilot for Microsoft 365, conducting smarter meetings, note taking. Action item creation. There's some great value you can get from there. Being able to summarize large volumes of information and giving a natural language front end to enable people to easily, summarize that information and make use of it productively with their time. Often I think many of us have used, all different versions of OpenAI and Microsoft's Copilots to assist with writing and rewriting content and just generally improving our productivity with a variety of activities throughout the day. Now, we're actually working with a lot of customers right now on improving the self-service findability of content. And part of what we're going to be talking about today is how you can collect from disparate systems, pulling information together and giving a unified front end within a context to really help people find information and reduce, some of the effort that's currently managed by folks in a help desk or customer support issue or a situation. We'll be talking about that specifically as well, as that there's no substitute for people in certain situations, but optimizing and empowering agents to be more productive is a huge use case for AI. And then I think one of the most exciting use cases that we're seeing is enhancing workflow. So there's been a lot of capabilities between robotic process automation and workflow tools that have been there for a long time, but now introducing AI into the workflow to take out human element in certain cases is a great way to enhance improving workflows as well. There's many other great use cases for AI at work at business, but these are just a few to kind of introduce. So the next thing I want to talk about here, I'm kind of joking, but also there's a fair amount of seriousness to this. So many of us, we heard about OpenAI, got super excited about how it's going to change the world. We got really pumped up about the fact that it was going to do anything and everything for us. We, may have gone out and purchased Copilot for Microsoft 365. And don't get me wrong here, I have no knock on Copilot for Microsoft 365. The knock is actually on people like myself that expected so much from it that it was unrealistic. So many of us kind of rode that hype train a little bit too far. I was thinking it was going to write statements of work for me. It was going to be able to, handle super complex questions. But when you start learning some of the nuances about token limits and context, that you realize fairly quickly that there's limits to what it's going to do right now, but there's a lot of great enhancements coming with things like infinite context that are starting to be realized. We'll talk a little bit more about this later. So, many of us want to explore a variety of different AIs, likely with similar results. And, what happens in the end is, many of us kind of call to question to say, okay, there's certain things that these tools do great when it comes to, helping rewrite content, helping manage more intelligent meetings. But realistically, what am I supposed to do when it comes to providing a useful user experience that achieves my AI goals without creating tons of different copilots and making it confusing? So quickly, before we jump into a little bit more about the realistic journey that we're seeing, we just have a quick question to ask to everybody here about where you currently are in your AI journey. So Soma, if you wouldn't mind flashing that up, and then I can just give everybody 20 seconds here to do this, and we'll continue on. Okay, and while everybody's figuring the answer in the poll, I will jump quickly over here. So, realistically, what we're actually seeing when it comes to, AI innovation and custom copilots, and I'll touch on, this is not the entirety of the roadmap. There's things before, there's things after, the path can change a little bit, but where we're seeing the most value is, it's likely not going to be the case that you're going to roll out tons of different custom AI copilots all at once. Most organizations are evaluating use cases, measuring value and potential, setting success criteria, and leading with limited pilots on multiple platforms to learn and measure success and value for those copilots that are being rolled out. So it can be difficult to ascertain things like the AI readiness of your content. And oftentimes it's worth trying a couple of different options. Yeah, as we move through the presentation today, we're going to see that there's a variety of differences between search capabilities, some of the RAG process, and a variety of other, kind of flexible configuration with these different Copilot platforms that are going to come into play. And in certain cases, some are going to cater better to different situations. So we'll dig into that a little bit more. But really, we want to make sure that we're trying a few different options so that you can weigh the efficacy and measure that against the total cost of ownership for your AI solutions. So just to kind of touch quickly on, a couple other parts of this, that we're also working with many organizations, in an early stage to say, before I start rolling out copilots, is my data secured enough to do that? Similarly to when we turned on enterprise search in the past, this is another level on top of that of making, data that may be of hidden through obscurity now surface up through a natural language user interface. So that's another piece that's quite important in this journey. And, I also want to make sure that we're not missing out on the fact that although it's helpful to try with some small pilots to gain traction and understand where the value is, that realistically, once the engine is churning, you also need to make sure that you've got a well-defined center of excellence to make sure that there's consistency, lifecycle management, governance, clear roles and responsibility, so that your AI implementation going forward is going to be something that's manageable within the organization. So there's other elements to this, but this is really the initial roadmap, getting things started so that you can move quickly and derive some value. Okay. So the last section here before we move into the demos, I want to do just a brief introduction and some context around the Copilot platforms available from Microsoft. So although there's hundreds, literally hundreds of different Copilots embedded into nearly every Microsoft app and service, there's three main Copilot platforms that enable you to empower your broader digital workforce with AI, and that's Copilot for Microsoft 365, Copilot Studio, and Azure OpenAI. So, I think many of us know the Copilot for Microsoft 365 is this is the general AI grounded in your Microsoft 365 graph and content. It's easy to deploy. It kind of works within the existing workflow and user experience that you have in Microsoft 365. And it's got some great capabilities we'll talk about with being able to extend beyond the basics and also extend to including content that's outside of Microsoft 365. We have Microsoft Copilot Studio. This is an evolution of what used to be called Power Virtual Agents. And effectively, this is like a low-code designer platform that allows us some extensibility, which we'll get into in a minute. But it's really your your low-code, no-code platform for creating copilots. And it also enables us to extend Copilot from Microsoft 365. And then lastly, on the right side here, we have Azure AI. So this is cutting edge models, full flexibility, pay as you go. We've got the full capabilities of all different types of search, including vector embedding, semantic, and keyword. And it's really powerful, but this is definitely where you're getting into more development, more customization, and a higher need for education and experience to build these. So just quickly, a comparison. There's on a variety of different dimensions, these vary. So Copilot from Microsoft 365 has that $30 per user per month license. Fantastic, gives you a lot of capabilities, but there are certain cases where, say for example, Copilot Studio, $200 for a Copilot that does 25,000 messages a month. So you could see that if you have something that needs to cater to a large group of folks, but they're only going to be asking a smaller number of questions, that might be a fantastic way from a cost perspective to deliver that value. And Azure AI, as I said, obviously is a pay-as-you-go. We have capabilities with all these different tools to not only include your Microsoft 365 content, but also extend beyond that. So Copilot for Microsoft 365 uses graph connectors, which many of you may have already used to bring external content into your Microsoft search. So Copilot for Microsoft 365 can make use of that. Copilot Studio connects to both SharePoint and publicly available websites, and you can use connectors and plugins to connect to specific external systems. Azure AI is kind of fully flexible. There's a fair bit of additional work that you need to do, which we'll get into. And one of the other key things I want to focus on here is search. So Copilot for Microsoft 365 does keyword and semantic. Copilot Studio is pretty limited here, so that's something to keep in mind when we're building these solutions. And Azure AI, like I mentioned before, has the ability to really cover the full spectrum of keyword, semantic, vector embeddings, and using custom logic to kind of help manage that. And in reality, right, all of these tools give us the ability to secure this information with ACLs. That does get quite a bit more complicated in Azure AI, which we'll touch on a little bit more detail later, but they all have that capability. And, as I mentioned here before, right, it's really a trade-off, right? It's simplicity to customizability, and you're giving that trade-off here. And that's very much the reason why we recommend in certain cases to prototype a couple of different flavors for your use case to make sure that you can use the most cost-effective and kind of effective to users approach to deliver that value. Okay, so I think the last main piece that I'm going to show here before we get over to the demonstrations, this is not a 10,000-foot view. This is not looking through a microscope, but this is about a 1,000-foot view of what these different platform components look like and how they work together. So I'll start out with Copilot for Microsoft 365. That's surfaced to us through the out-of-the-box Copilot interfaces. You can do that in Teams. There's other interfaces where that's surfaced inside Microsoft as well. Copilot for Microsoft 365 works with this semantic index that's created when you provision Copilot in your environment, and that's fed information from your Microsoft 365 content. It's also fed, like I said, from Graph Connector, which can go out and crawl a variety of external data sources. There's some default connectors that are available, and there's also third-party marketplaces to purchase these from, and you can even develop them yourself if you're so inclined to. But this information all feeds into the semantic index, and Copilot for Microsoft 365 is able to make use of that. We've done a variety of implementations for Salesforce, ServiceNow that you can easily connect and map that information into your graph. The next layer of the onion here is Copilot Studio. So Copilot Studio has its interfaces as well for the user front end, and it has this concept of topics. So effectively, what you can do is you can branch the logic for the questions that come in to decide what it helps decide what is this user asking about with their prompt. There's some default kind of branching that you can build inside the tool itself, and you can also use Power Automate to even extend above and beyond that when a certain topic is matched to say, go reach out to this API, run whatever custom business logic you want. And we're able to query for Microsoft 365 for the RAG component of this, Retrieval Augmented Generative AI. And we can also reach out to those publicly available websites. Now, in addition to this, Copilot Studio has what are called plugins. So in these plugins, we can call connectors that reach out to a huge variety of different data sources in real time that are outside of Microsoft 365 to retrieve information to help answer the question. It does that in real time, and you can also use Power Automate here to extend even above and beyond the connectors that are available in these plugins. And there's a nice, interesting piece here as well that Copilot for Microsoft 365 can actually be extended with these Copilot Studio plugins. So there's special plugins that you can create here that make Copilot for Microsoft 365 aware that when users give certain prompts, that it needs to extend and reach out to other data, which may not be, part of this first swim lane that I showed here. So that's kind of an interesting extensibility piece. The last part that I'm going to show here is putting in the Azure AI layer. So, we have OpenAI in Azure, as the model. There's a variety of different search tools that you can use, but we're showing the Microsoft Azure AI search here. And what we can do is we can use indexers and other custom code to effectively crawl your Microsoft 365 content and pretty much any external content you want. And we can basically chunk, embed, and index that information into the Azure AI search indexes. And that's the data that's going to be used to actually do this query and response here. And similarly to these plugins that I was talking about with Copilot Studio, you have this powerful capability with function calling to do interaction with data in real time from your Azure OpenAI to extend above and beyond content that may have been previously indexed as a part of your Azure AI search. And you'll see here as well, so Copilot extends through Copilot Studio, and we can actually have a backdrop for Copilot Studio copilots that we create to extend into an Azure OpenAI model instance that you have deployed. So over the course of months, I think Microsoft doesn't really have any cohesive picture of how all of these work together. So we thought it would be helpful to just kind of bring this together to give everybody a flavor of how these different components work. Obviously, you can double click into so many different elements of this. If you're interested, be more than happy to answer questions or set up a separate session to dive in deeper. But wanted to lay the groundwork at least. So quickly to summarize then, before we turn over to the demo, Soma, if you want to pop up, we've got one more poll here. But effectively what we're saying is that for your easy to use, non-specialized AI grounded in your Microsoft 365 graph data, Copilot for Microsoft 365 is great. It helps enhance meetings, summarize content, creating new pros, and working across that kind of larger corpus of all of your content, mail, SharePoint, Teams, everything. If you want to build a specialized low-code, no-code custom chatbot, Copilot Studio is a fantastic choice for this. The price point is very reasonable, and it's especially good at catering to many users with fewer prompts, and it's great if you're not a developer. Lastly, for maximum customization and advanced capabilities, Azure AI is the way to go. Just obviously be prepared to be more involved in the development process. It's a heavier lift. So with that all being said, I'm going to hand it over to Soma now to take us through the demonstrations. So over to you, Soma.
Hey, Drew, thank you. Let me share my screen. Okay. So here comes the most interesting part, use case and demo. So today we are going to show you two use cases with Azure OpenAI, how it is directly working within an application. So for the first demo, for OpenAI, we will go through this mail desk application, which is we are using the OpenAI in an application which can streamline the customer service with custom Copilot. So we have Pankaj here. So Pankaj, can you just give us a quick overview of this mail desk application?
You're on mute, Pankaj.
Sorry, thanks, Soma. Can you just turn on to the next slide, please?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So the mail desk. So mail desk is possibly the most comprehensive email-based customer support help desk solution that is available in the market today. This is an offering from NetOven. This is not yet a product, but you can always avail these solutions from NetOven. So now the question is like, why the mail desk in the first place? This is because the till date email is one of the most dominant channel for customer communications and considered as the most trusted one. I mean, you all should be quite familiar with it. However, like what happens if your customer email volume is high and you are handling those emails, providing the quick response with the right information becomes a big challenge. And if the response is delayed by more than a couple of hours, which is kind of, you will all agree with me, the average in the industry, you will lose the customer confidence in a big way. So Maildesk consolidate emails from multiple support mailboxes to a single workbench for agents to have a consolidated view of the all active emails. It has an intelligent rules engine that enrich the email with several additional metadata for detailed classifications of incoming emails. The core processing engine auto handles a large percentage of emails based on the classifications. However, there are some emails obviously that needs to be handled by the agents, and they are supported in a big way by unique AI powered response generator. This brings down the overall response time to 5 minutes on an average. This is a big win towards earning your customer trust. Along with that, it helps in significant reductions in help desk cost by rationalizing the number of agents that you have to employ for your managing your help desk because of increase in productivity by several times. Now, this is a complete customer email management solutions, which can be integrated with your like LOB applications. You have ERP, CRM, ticketing solutions, and whatnot. And depending on the email content and the response requirements, the mail desk retrieves the information from those systems and significantly cutting down the manual effort from your agents. Okay, the solution is designed as a SaaS and can also be deployed to your business tenant. Now, I will hand it over to Soma, and she will demonstrate different components of this solution, which has been AI enabled. Over to Soma.
Yeah, thank you, Pankaj. So let's time for the demo. Let me go over to the mail desk. So this is the mail desk. We call it workbench. So you can see there are lots of functionalities are there. Let me expand the mails here. So you can see the mails are received in the shared mailbox and then it is processed and analyze the sentiment and it is reached to the user's workbench. And I will not go to all this functionality here because we will focus on the AI part only today. So you can see here that two mails are assigned to me. One is an inquiry mail and one is the invoice mail. So let me start with the inquiry mail. So let me turn on the preview. And you can see there is a mail came from Algonix and it is asking for Jive to Office 365 migration. Okay, so let me quickly try to reply this mail with the help of Copilot. So I will go this reply button and you can see this is a nice editor where the original mail is there at the end. And then this editor, I can write anything, but today I will not write anything. I will try to reply with Copilot. So let me just click this button. So behind the scene, what it will do, it will connect to the knowledge base, get the answer from there, and will craft a personalized message to this reply. So let me see what is there in that mail. So you can see there are few questions. It is asking about our migration process for 2,000 users and 4 TB data. Then it is asking for data cleansing and inquiring about the cost range. And then there's another question is whether we have a dedicated team or what about the training and support detail for the user. And then lastly, it is asking about the case studies. Do we have any case studies of Jive to Office 365 migration? So let me go back to there and see whether Copilot started. Okay, it's nice. Copilot started replying the mail. It is starting nicely, thanking Amy for reaching out to us at NetOven. And then you can see one by one, it is replying all the question, like what about our migration process, what we are included here, like the content migration, archiving, URL redirection, everything it is including here. And then you can see data cleansing. Yes, it is saying that how to cleanse the data, what service we offered here. About the cost, so you can see how clever it is. It is not saying any direct cost, rather than it is saying that we will discuss during the call. So all the question it answered very nicely. And at the end, it is saying that, okay, about the case studies, okay, we have completed 25 Jive migration process. And then it is saying that, okay, we have the Spectrum Health case studies for Jive migration. So all this information, it gets from our knowledge base and created the reply. So let me do something more here. So we have a Copilot button here. If I click on this thing, it will open a Copilot chatbot, which is created from Copilot Studio. So it has the same knowledge base, our internal knowledge base. So what I will do, let me ask some question here that please tell me about the, is there any webinar on migration, so that I can invite to see what any additional information. Okay, there are webinars, but these webinars are for Fabric, which is not very useful here. So I will not invite here. So second question I will ask here that, can you tell me the service offering leads for Jive migration? Let me copy this question quickly here. Okay, so it has given me the information about the Jive migration lead, Vince and Shukanto. So as a customer service agent, what I will do, I will just copy the email address, go back to my mail, and in the CC box, I will just copy these to mailbox and I'm ready to send the mail. So this is our first mail where AI is nicely helped me to create the reply. So let me go to the next use case where I have one invoice. Open the mail. Okay, you can see. So NetOven has purchased one lightweight laptop and one DSLR camera from the Contoso. And it is saying that this is the amount which is due by a date. Okay, so again, let me reply this mail like I'm acknowledging. So I will again take the help from the Copilot. It will, so what it will do, as it has a keyword invoice here, so it will, behind the scene, it will use the Microsoft AI application framework for prompt flow, which is extracting the invoice number from the subject, and then next step, it will connect to the ERP system and get the status of the invoice, whether it is approved, whether the payment is ready, all those information it will fetch from the ERP API. So let's see what it is. Okay, it is saying again very nicely, thanking Karin about the invoice. And then it is saying that, okay, the payment is approved and it will be released by tomorrow, which is well ahead from the due date. So this is the example of calling the API from the generative AI and getting the response crafted nicely within the mail body. Yes, so let me
Great.
go.
Yeah, so I guess so we got to show here that the agent can interact directly with a Copilot Studio Copilot to answer some questions to complement our Azure AI solution that's feeding in the information from the email. And in these two different cases, we showed function calling as well as just the general AI solution against the knowledge base. That's awesome. Thanks.
So within this application, you can see we have integrated the Copilot Studio bot and as well as the generative AI, and it called the API within the generative AI action. So, okay, let me go to the slide and show you how the technical overview, little bit of, let me make it a little bigger for you. Okay, so you can see the mails are coming here and there is a Azure function which is triggered and it is extracting the mail information. Then it is sending to the rule engine.
And Thomas, just to probably do a little bit of recap on the rules engines over here. So this is a very specialized rules engine, which is a supervised machine learning model trained with predefined rules created by SMEs, in this case, like probably the agents. Okay. However, it's not a one time. This is a feedback loop that has been implemented, and it continuously trains the model based on the agent's action on emails. And because of that, what happens is the rules engine continues to improve its performance and do better quality tagging of emails with metadata that eventually helps better classifications of emails.
Right. Thanks, Pankaj. So then it triggers another Azure function. What it will do, it will generate all the action, whatever the rules engine stamped there. It will take action on that, and then it will call the Azure Cognitive Service to analyze the sentiment that we already seen in that workbench. And then it will store the mail. It will save the mail into a repository. In this case, we are using SharePoint list. So mail is saved here. And at the same time, it will trigger one signaler message to the workbench to inform that there is a new mail arrived, so that the user don't have to refresh the grid. It will come automatically within their workbench. So there are lots of actions here. I have not added all the actions here, just an overview of how AI is working here in the workbench. So for the reply, we saw that it is connecting behind the scene, it is connecting a web application, and this web application is fetching the relevant document from the Azure search, and it is sending to the Azure OpenAI to generate the response from there. And optionally, when there is a keyword where there is a invoice related thing, it will call another function with sending the invoice number as a payload and get the information from there. And again, it will generate the response on that. And as an Azure function, it will log everything into data lake. And from there, the Power BI reports are generated for admin to monitor. Okay, let's go to the next demo. So next demo is the Azure knowledge-based chatbot, which I think will be very familiar, everyone. So let me go to okay, this is our interface. So this is our own NetOven AI assistant. So what it is doing, it is like a personal guru. If we have any question, we will come here and ask the question. So let me start. Okay, so you can see this has three type of conversation style: precise, balanced, and creative. So precise means it will give you the very deterministic answer. Balance means little less, and creative means it will give you very creative answer. So what does it mean? There is a temperature parameter for the model. Here we are using the GPT-4 model, and for the Meldes application also we are using the GPT-4. So this model has a temperature parameter, and for when we lowering down the temperature, it will give you the precise answer. So for precise, we are using 0.1, balance 0.5, and creative 1. Okay. So now let's go to the how would you like to chat. So we have three option here, internet, file, and repositories. So I will come later for this internet and file. Let me start with the repositories. So here we have three knowledge base: HR knowledge base, IT help desk, and the Hive. So Hive is the entire NetOven knowledge base. So anyone has any question, like the developer can ask for their code base, salesperson can come and search for any SOW. So everything will be available here in the Hive. IT help desk is another very useful knowledge base. So if I'm looking for how to reset my password, how do I connect to my VPN, all this information, it will come. I can ask the question here. And for today's demo, I will go with the HR section. So HR is the for our HR policies, benefit, career, training, everything will be asked into the HR. So when I
And so,
was preparing,
so much, just really quickly, I was going to add in here that we've had a number of clients come to us saying that, hey, look, we have a need to have a number of specialized repositories or kind of knowledge sets that we want to work with to AI enable, but we don't want to have so many different interfaces. So this is a great way when you have control over the user experience to kind of segment and through a single pane of glass, provide AI tools across a variety of different specialized data sets or kind of context areas.
right. And it can be security control, like all the knowledge base. You can it can be target audience related. You will not expose to, if you want, you can hide this knowledge base according to the logged in user. So let me start with the HR. So when I was preparing the demo, I asked few questions to my colleague that how they are interacting, what are the majority of questions they are asking to the HR. So there are some funny questions. Let me start with that. That someone said me that are there any holidays in the month of May in US? So he is planning for a vacation and he wants to club his vacation with the holidays. So he is looking for a holiday in the month of May, like the next month. So let me see. Okay, it is answering. Okay, there is a holiday in 27th of May. And additionally, it is giving me the full list of the holiday over the US holidays. So he can plan over July, September also if he like to do that. So you can see this is a PDF file with a table structure, and our AI assistant is intelligent enough to read from a PDF table. Second question I got from one of my colleagues. She is asking me about that. Is there any job opening? What are the current job opening in NetOven? Because she has some referrals from her old company and she wants to refer one of her friend to NetOven. So, okay, it is listing all the current job opening for NetOven, and we have like it is clubbing the US as well as our India GDC location. All the job opening, it is nicely listed here. And at the end, it is also giving you the URL that go there and find all the openings, and whatever the skill set is required for that role, you can go for more detail here. So next interesting question came from her, that does NetOven have an employee referral bonus? If she refers someone, is there any referral bonus? So yes, there is a referral bonus, but there is a condition that that employee must be with NetOven for 3 months. And again, it is giving us the related source where from it got that information.
Samus, this is great, but do you think this solution can read from any information that is only available as the image? So kind of reading from image.
I think so, Pankaj, because I saw in the HR repository, they have the posters of the states, and those posters are the image posters. So let me ask some question in from that poster. Like, this is one of the question I can ask here. how do wages in Arizona compare to Washington? Hopefully it will go to the poster and fetch the information from there. Yes, it is working. So looks like it is it is fetching the information from Arizona.
And I know we've noticed with building these solutions that there's a variety of different nuances that, table structure information is not necessarily immediately understandable. So being able to make sure that you're, doing your text conversion to Markdown or HTML kind of really enables Copilot and your AI to understand that, and making sure that, not everything's text, right? It's almost saying here we've got some content that's more image related. So making sure that you build that into your chain or your indexing process is very important. And this kind of comes back to what I was talking about before, like the AI readiness of your content. So there's a lot of devil in the details to making sure that your AI implementation supports the types of content that you have.
Right. So it works best for the PDF, what I saw. But yes, images and table, yes, everything will be working. So it looks like it is extracting the information from there. And then it is at the end, it is giving me the information about the Arizona poster also. So if I open that poster, you can see this is an image and it is extracted all the information like the wage rate and giving me the answer of that. So as for the demo, I will not focus any more question. Let me go back to the first screen. And okay, so internet is like anything you are asking, which is like you are asking to the chat GPT, not related to the organizational repositories. Like I ask how is the weather and anything, any like what we do, reply a mail, I can give the content and ask internet to give the mail. So, but the good thing is that nothing will go out from your organizational boundary. So it will stay within the Azure Search Index and within the Azure OpenAI. Means everything within that Azure. It will not go your response and query. Nothing will go out to the internet. And one interesting option in the file section. So one of the QA person asked me that she has to write a test case from a very large document, a data sheet, and how do this AI chatbot help her? So what I told her that you can come in this file section and choose a file. Like this is her PDF. I will show you the PDF. Let me start uploading this PDF here. Let me open that PDF in meanwhile. So you can see this is a very big 103 pages data sheet and very complicated document. You can see this document. So this document I'm just now uploading there in the chatbot, and you can see it is chunking the document. It is indexing and chunking the document. So why it is chunking? So because this is a very large document, chunking will help to improve the efficiency. It will chunk the document into smaller pieces, and when I'm asking the question, the query it will match the query with the relevant section only, not through the entire document.
Yeah, and
Soma,
so
that's
this chunking is very sorry.
So go ahead, Pankaj.
Sorry, go ahead. So what I'm saying is that like this chunking is very important. Like it has a lot of implications on how your responses will be created. Like it's sometime like it could be like simply chunking by the number of characters, or there could be other algorithms to do the chunking. So it is really important how you are actually chunking, because it has the implications on your response generations. So in this case, as Soma is saying, it's a large document and it is really practically creating 214 chunks out of it.
Right.
Yeah, and I know
And you can
there's
see, yeah.
some
Yes,
of these approaches as well. I know this again comes down to the preparation of your data. So, we've found that customers that use headings properly when you're creating Word documents, you can actually have the chunking algorithm segment based on some of the different heading sections in the document to kind of logically chunk them. And as Soma was saying, that really helps with cost efficiency and kind of performance efficiency with being able to reason over this information.
right. So let me ask the question what she has. Like she wants to get all the test cases but for this demo, I will stick only for the 2 test cases. I'm asking AI, my NetOven assistant, to prepare at least 2 test cases from this document. So it is from this large document. It is started creating the test cases like a QA person. So the context, the question, the expected answer.
I mean, even for a subject matter experts, probably to create this kind of test cases based on this product data sheet, probably will take a while. And this is the power of AI, right? So obviously, the disclaimer is like we need to always validate what AI is generating, but nonetheless, it's a great help.
Very quickly, it uploaded the document, chunked the document, index it, and prepare the 2 test cases for me. So this is one of the complex example. Let me go to the behind the scene, how it is working. Okay. So this is a very high level technical overview. So knowledge base is chunked and stored into the Azure search index, and then there is a request. When request comes, the request got vectorized, embedded, and this web app, what it will do, it will take the help of OpenAI to embed the query, and it will match to the related top few paragraphs. So those all are configurable, like how many paragraphs you want to fetch, and then from there, it will send the content of that paragraph into the Azure OpenAI, and it will give you the response that we all seen just now. Okay, let's over to you, Drew. This is the
Okay,
nice
thank
demo.
you, Soma. Yeah, appreciate the demonstrations. Those were great.
Thank you.
So we're now moving into the wrap up here of the webinar. So just quickly, while we're moving into that, I'm just going to launch a final poll. We definitely appreciate your feedback here. We're always looking to improve and make sure that we're providing valuable content and insights to out to the public here. So, while you guys are taking a look at that poll, just to kind of wrap up on a few things about what's potentially next. So we have a number of things that we're offering to really help accelerate organizations along their AI journey. So there's a couple of tools that are available to you for free that may be of help here. So I think we've scratched the surface and shown some nice instances of demonstration here of putting AI to work, but we understand that every organization is going to be fairly unique in their needs and kind of where they're at in their journey right now. So we have free one-on-one Microsoft AI at your workplace strategy briefings. So please feel free to reach out to us if you'd like to double click into something more specific to you. We also here, in the context of AI, as I mentioned earlier on in the presentation, that infusing AI into your business processes and basically achieving innovation and additional value is one of the most important ways to make use of AI. So Soma showed an example of this in the business process related to customer help desk and support today. There's millions of other opportunities where AI could really empower, create productivity and efficiency in business processes that may have some sort of pain points to them right now. So we actually offer a free assessment to come in. You may have some ideas about some of those workflows and pain points. We'll actually have some of our team members come in and help do some value stack ranking to look at the potential achieved efficiencies through that innovation and the associated costs with bringing a solution like that to life. We understand it's extremely important when you're making the business case. You can't just say, hey, I think I want to do this thing, or this sounds like a good idea. You need to actually prepare a use case that you can take to your budgeting committee in order to put that case forwards and have it approved. So we understand, and we're here to help support that if you have some ideas that you would like some support in kind of making that case for. And then, as Soma showed today, how to integrate AI into your knowledge base. If you have ideas, if you have external systems, I mean, we understand that Microsoft 365 is not the only data source that your company needs to make use of in order to effectively empower users. So we showed today how you can upload documents, how you can reach out to other systems, to index information or to use as part of your RAG approach. But again, your unique situation likely requires some in-depth conversation and review. So if you have a scenario in which you want to integrate AI into an existing knowledge base or set of knowledge bases, we'd be more than happy to have that discussion with you and help lay out some of the roadmap of what that looks like. So these are all offers available to you. Please feel free to reach out to our NetWoven team, info@netwoven.com, or you can reach out directly to any of the presenters here on LinkedIn or email. And with that being said, yeah, go ahead, Pankaj.
Yeah, so looks like there are a couple of questions. Probably we have a couple of minutes, so maybe we can take one or two questions here. So one of the questions that came up is, I'm not getting, I am using the Copilot and Copilot Studio, it seems, but the response that I'm looking for, I'm not getting it. So how can I influence the response quality? Okay, so for custom copilots, it looks like that you probably are trying to use the copilot using by the Copilot Studio. That's what probably it means. Or you are using an AI application. It applies to both. For improving your response quality, there is an incremental approach. First you try with your better prompts. There is, I mean, if you look for even in the net, like there is or even NetEvent actually provides you the prompt engineering workshops. So try to improve your prompts. You need to be more clear, that bring to clarity in your prompt, then you can expect a better response. Next is you can look at your RAG. Drew mentioned that RAG, the retrieval augmented generations. Basically, that's the technology that Soma demonstrated today. You can improve at the RAG outcome, and there are ways to improve the response quality from the RAG. Okay, and finally, there is a process to fine tune your model. Okay, so that there is the incremental approach. Try with the lowest hanging fruit with the prompt, improving your prompt, then go for your RAG fine tuning, and then go for the model fine tuning. Okay. Okay, so one more question that I'm seeing here is, does this chatbot work on structured content like data in the database? This is an excellent question, I would say. At the core of this chatbot, what we have is large language model like GPT-4. Large language models are designed for unstructured data. There are, like why it was like that? It's because there are already well-established means available for extracting insights from structured data. This has been there for a while. Okay, so this was never a priority for LLMs. So that's why they are not designed in that way in the first place. However, now that LLMs are so productive and so useful, there is a increasing demand for response generation from structured data that is coming up, and then work has already been started to update the LLMs to work on the structured data. And however, there are few challenges. That's why it probably will take next few months to be at a point where you can expect value. So the challenges like table size, LLMs actually work on a on the bulk of a content, right? So, and there are limitations on token size and all. So when you're working on a table that is of high volume, then the token size becomes a limitations. Then another thing is the knowledge of schema for meaningful relationships between the tables, entities, data structure, primary and foreign keys, etc. So making LLMs to understand this schema is little difficult. The work is going on there. And also that, the queries for the structural data, like SQL queries, can be very complex, and there also that the work is going on, but I think there is still some time left before the LLMs gets matured. So yeah, so if you have a structured data for which you're looking for, I think you have to give a little bit of time. The models are getting better and better. And also there are various techniques I believe people are actually working on. So I think we'll be there in next few months. We'll be there.
Fantastic. So thank you, Pankaj. Appreciate answering some of those key questions. We'll follow up with any other ones we weren't able to get to today, but we're at the top of the hour. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. Thank you, Soma. Thank you, Pankaj. Thank you, Vince. We look forward to speaking with you at one of our coming up webinars, continuing our AI journey. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.